Ice, which covers 10% of our planet's surface, has a way of keeping secrets sometimes for eons. And thanks to faster melting glaciers' speed, which is not good at all, it has opened up a new field of research, which is known as glacial archaeology. But I call it dark archaeology because it's a very tiny silver lining to global warming. From viruses frozen for millions of years to weird ancient mummies, these are the top 15 strangest discoveries found trapped in ice. Number 15. Nunchoga. Well, let's go back in time. In June 2022, a lucky miner named Travis Moudry was working in the Klondike goldfields of Canada's Yukon Territory when he discovered something super shocking in Season 1, Episode 9 of What Lies Beneath. At first, he assumed it was a mummified bison calf, but what he didn't know, it was much rarer. It was a nearly perfect baby woolly mammoth. After that, the excavation work stopped immediately. Paleontologist Grant Zazula sent 2 expert geologists who reached the site just before a storm hit. Wrapped in a tarp, this baby was taken to a ceremonial gathering with scientists, miners, and First Nations elders. The elders named her Nunchoga, which means big baby animal. Analysis showed she was female, roughly a month old, and had likely died over 30,000 years ago after becoming trapped in mud. Her body is incredibly well preserved, just like her big sister Yuka. So ice is very good at keeping secrets. Number 14. Ötzi, the Iceman. There is a very weird mystery behind this guy. In 1991, 2 German hikers exploring the Ötztal Alps near the Austria-Italy border found this naturally mummified body, which was later identified as Ötzi, the Iceman. His remains, well, dated to around 3,350 to 3,150 BCE, make him Europe's oldest known mummy. He was preserved by ice for over 5,000 years, so just imagine how much could have gone wrong, and didn't. But his story doesn't stop there. Scientists later discovered 61 tattoos on his body, strangely located near his arthritic joints, maybe for pain relief. His stomach contained wild ibex, grains, and pollen from different altitudes, proof that he was traveling in the last hours before his death. His damaged hip and fatal arrow wound scream murder. And thanks to 3D printing and CT scans, an exact replica of Ötzi was created for public study, while his real body stays sealed away in a sterile chamber. This guy is cursed, some people say, but who knows? Number 13. The Finger of Death. Well, names are not always what they seem, but when your name ends with the word death, there's no mistaking the warning. In Antarctica, as winter sets in, the sea around the continent freezes so dramatically that it doubles the landmass. Beneath that solid sheet, the water stays at a constant -2 degrees Celsius, far warmer than the brutal cold above. For the creatures living on the ocean floor, this stable world is the only refuge they've ever known. But even here, there's a threat. And it's very bad. As salty, freezing brine seeps from the ice above, it sinks and forms a long, twisting tube of solid ice. This brinnacle moves downward, silently touching the seabed. And when it does, it freezes everything. We mean starfish, sea sponges, anything that doesn't move fast enough. There's no escape or noise, just cold and stillness. One touch, and it's game over. That's why they call it the Finger of Death. Nothing survives its reach. Number 12. Glacial gold deposits. While most gold is typically mined underground, the rapid melting of glaciers has exposed new deposits hiding in plain sight. During the last ice age, massive glaciers carried gold-rich rocks across vast regions, many of which ended up trapped in the ice. As these glaciers gradually retreat, they release long-hidden gold that had remained sealed for thousands of years. Most of the gold shows up as scattered sediment, but in recent years, melting has begun to uncover more concentrated clusters, offering a tempting opportunity for gold seekers. One such real-life example is the season of ice-cold gold. In Greenland, these American miners not only found gold, but also ruby deposits. There is another guy from Idaho who found good gold in the mountains. He even has a YouTube channel named Buffalo Chris Gold Prospecting. So he is not crazy that we know. While it may look weird, ice and gold have a great relationship in nature. Number 11. Allen Hills meteorite. Well, the meteorite that wiped out the poor dinosaurs is the most famous, but Allen Hills is just as intriguing. It was discovered in 1984 in Antarctica's Allen Hills region, and this 1.9 kilogram igneous rock is believed to have formed from Martian lava around 4.5 billion years ago. Yes, billion with capital B. After enduring numerous impacts, it was blasted off Mars roughly 17 million years ago and crash-landed in Antarctica about 13,000 years ago. In 1996, NASA researchers proposed that the carbonate minerals in the rock might point to Martian microbes. These carbonates were tied to organic compounds and iron crystals, similar to those created by bacteria found here on Holy Earth. However, later studies, including a 2022 Science Journal publication, refuted that theory, suggesting the features were formed by water, not life. Still, Allen Hills remains crucial. Even if it didn't prove life on Mars, it raised the question seriously for the first time. Number 10. Iron Age skis. Well, now this is kind of Red Bull stuff. Back in 2014, researchers in Norway's Reinheimen National Park found a single wooden ski embedded in ice, already remarkable. But 7 years later, just meters away, they found its match, and this time, it was in even better shape. While skiing dates back at least 8,000 years, these Iron Age skis, roughly 1,300 years old, are extraordinary in how intact they are. Each ski measures about 188 centimeters long and 18 centimeters wide. Archaeologist Lars Pilu from Norway's Glacier Archaeology program confirmed they weren't identical, but clearly a pair. Handmade, showing signs of use and repair. They include leather straps and birch bark bindings threaded through carved footholds. These weren't decorations. They were functional, probably worn by a hunter or traveler. A guy on YouTube also reconstructed a pair of these Iron Age skis, and he uses ancient skiing techniques that he learned from ski hunters in the Chinese Altai. Number 9. The Hidden Treasure of Mont Blanc. Well, it's a bit old story. In 2013, an honest French mountain climber made a super unexpected find while hiking across a glacier on Mont Blanc. He found a small metal box jutting from the ice. On closer look, he noticed it was stamped "Made in India." Inside the box were around 100 gemstones. We're talking about real sapphires, emeralds, and rubies. Officials launched an investigation to trace the origin and eventually linked the box to an Air India flight that crashed in either 1950 or 1966. Despite extensive searching, authorities were unable to find the real owner. In the end, the treasure was split between the alpinist and the landowners where it was found. That once-forgotten box turned into a stunning payday, valued at $340,000. Sadly, the plane crash incident killed over 100 people. But let's be real. What would you do if you found a treasure like this? Number 8. HMS Investigator. In 1848, British explorer Sir John Franklin vanished while searching for the Northwest Passage. His vanishing triggered widespread panic and led to several rescue missions. One such mission was undertaken by the HMS Investigator, which itself became trapped in Arctic ice in 1853. For years, its fate remained unknown. In July 2010, a Parks Canada team surveying the Canadian Arctic unexpectedly located the Investigator's wreck. The ship lay preserved beneath the icy waters off Banks Island. This breakthrough revived interest in the Franklin expedition and validated Inuit oral histories that had long pointed to the area. Following the Investigator's find, Parks Canada later uncovered the HMS Erebus in 2014 and the HMS Terror in 2016, Franklin's original ships. Since then, excavations of the Erebus have recovered hundreds of artifacts. But it is spooky. We mean, just look at that now. It's kind of like Mary Celeste version 2.0. Number 7. Ancient viruses. Back in 2015, a team of microbiologists from Ohio traveled to the frozen land of the Tibetan Plateau in search of some ancient ice. They had created a new way of studying it without taking too much tension about contamination, and they were curious to see what information the ice could provide about the environment from thousands of years ago. The scientists traveled to the summit of the Gulia ice cap, 22,000 feet above sea level, and dug out a core that was over 1,000 feet deep. Inside, they found viruses, and lots of them. They have been frozen in ice for 15,000 years, and there were about 33 different types of viruses, 28 of which were totally new to science. The Ohio team believed that none of the microbes were harmful to humans, but they cannot say the same thing for all the other numerous viruses currently on ice. Well, it is super scary. Number 6. A primordial lake. If there's one thing you wouldn't expect to find beneath miles of ice, it's liquid water. But that assumption doesn't hold up. As early as the 19th century, scientists proposed that geothermal heat beneath the Antarctic ice sheet might be enough to melt the bottom layers, forming hidden subglacial lakes. In the 1970s, ice-penetrating radar confirmed they were right. And in the 1990s, Lake Vostok was identified, by far the largest, buried beneath 2 miles of ice in East Antarctica. But locating it was one thing, reaching it was another. It wasn't until 2013 that Russian researchers finally drilled deep enough to extract an uncontaminated ice core. Lake Vostok had been sealed off for over 15 million years. Early claims of alien-like bacteria stirred headlines, but the excitement cooled when it turned out the samples were contaminated by drilling fluid. Even now, the lake contains microbial life, just not the bizarre kind people were hoping for. Number 5. C-53 Skytrooper Dakota crash. On November 18, 1946, a C-53 took off from Tulln Air Base in Austria, en route to Pisa, Italy. On board were Allied officers and their families. To avoid bad weather, Captain Ralph Tate Jr. chose a longer 2-day flight path through Munich and Marseille. But while flying near Innsbruck, severe weather threw the crew off course. Believing they were over the French Alps, they were actually above Austria. With downdrafts pulling the plane toward a mountain, Tate made the critical call to land on the Gauley Glacier. The aircraft skidded and finally lodged into a snowbank, saving everyone on board. Only one passenger suffered a serious injury. At 3,200 meters altitude, the group was stranded. Rescue took 3 days, with reports saying Tate's father helped spot them after a flare was fired. Decades later, in 2012, Canadian students hiking the glacier, minding their own business, found a propeller, and it was found just by pure accident. Number 4. Yucca the woolly mammoth. In 2010, a group of tusk hunters stumbled upon something astonishing in the Siberian tundra, a nearly intact woolly mammoth named Yucca. She lived around 39,000 years ago and likely died after falling into a swamp, becoming trapped in a pose that preserved her remarkably well. Scientists were shocked by her condition. Her tissue, organs, and even blood were still intact. Most remarkably, her blood was still liquid, showing natural antifreeze properties that helped mammoths survive freezing climates. Her remains gave researchers rare insights into mammoth biology, ice age ecosystems, and prehistoric extinction. Today, Yucca is displayed in Moscow, where she draws crowds fascinated by her lifelike condition. Unlike fossilized bones, her soft tissue held vital DNA, sparking conversations about possible de-extinction efforts. But let's be honest, do we really need to play God? Is it a good idea to revive what's extinct? Well, let us know. Number 3. Glacier Girl. On July 15, 1942, a U.S. squadron of 6 P-38 Lightnings and 2 B-17 bombers hit a brutal storm while en route from Greenland to the British Isles. Without any options, forced to make an emergency landing on Greenland's glaciers, the crews were rescued, but the aircraft were left behind. Over the decades, they were buried under nearly 90 meters of compacted ice. In 1992, a recovery team launched a bold mission to retrieve one of the P-38s, nicknamed Glacier Girl. It took 11 years, $2 million, and a custom-built heating system to reach the aircraft. Hot water jets carved a tunnel and chamber to extract the parts. Despite a crushed canopy, the plane was mostly intact. After restoration, Glacier Girl flew again in 2002. A second transatlantic flight attempt in 2007 was cut short by a coolant leak. In 2011, a new team began searching for another P-38, Echo, using drone-mounted radar. As of 2018, recovery remained unconfirmed. Number 2. Antarctic ice holes. In 2017, scientists found a huge hole in the Weddell Sea ice during the winter season. What made it remarkable was its sheer scale. It was roughly the size of Maine, and the fact that it seemed to appear without warning. After investigation, scientists identified it as a polynya, a naturally occurring open stretch of water surrounded by ice. These form when warmer, saltier water from deeper in the Southern Ocean rises to the surface, melting the overlying ice. The process leaves a gaping, ice-free area that's exposed to the air, preventing new ice from forming. Well, polynyas are found near the coast, but this one formed far from shore, raising more questions than answers. Though researchers have pieced together some of the mechanics using satellite data and ocean floats, the broader impact on climate and ecosystems remains uncertain. Some even speculate links to climate change, though that theory is still under investigation. Number 1. The discovery of a hidden mountain range. In 1958, a Soviet expedition made a jaw-dropping find buried beneath the Antarctic ice, a massive mountain range now called the Gamburtsev Mountains. Hidden under roughly 600 meters of solid ice, the range stretches around 1,250 kilometers, with peaks rising up to 3,390 meters high. For context, that's roughly the size and scale of the European Alps. Despite its colossal footprint, scientists know surprisingly little about this range. The remote location and thick ice layers have kept it almost entirely out of reach, preserving its mystery. Researchers believe it may hold crucial clues about Antarctica's ancient past, including how the ice sheet formed. But even now, decades after the initial discovery, the Gamburtsev Mountains remain largely unexplored due to logistical challenges. As technology advances, scientists hope to learn more about this ghostly range frozen in time. Until then, it stands as one of Earth's last truly untouched geological giants. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome content like this. Thanks for hanging with us and keep exploring.